So today, let me begin with an ask. I want to ask you something that might feel a little uncomfortable. But as always, I want you to answer it honestly, not out loud, just to yourself. Yes. Like on a typical Monday morning, when the alarm goes off, when the day is just beginning, what is the first feeling that shows up? Is it something that resembles energy, even if it's a quiet kind? Or is it that heavy laden feeling, the one that makes you think, not again, not already? And now, before you say, oh, Monday is just Monday, I know Monday has a reputation. But here's what I've noticed. For some people, even Monday has a kind of aliveness to it. They're not skipping to their laptop singing songs, but there's a thread of meaning pulling them forward. A reason beyond the salary, beyond the routine, beyond because this is what I do. That thread, that invisible, powerful thread is what we're going to talk about today. So today's session is about choosing purpose driven work and why it might be the single most important professional decision you ever make. So let's begin with this thought that work that feeds your soul fuels your success. So let me say that again. Work that feeds your soul fuels your success, not the other way around. Not succeed first, find meaning later, feed the soul, and the fuel for everything else follows. This isn't poetry. It's neuroscience, productivity research, and the l- lived experience of every person who found their why. Yes. Let me immediately bust a myth because I don't want anyone in this room to feel disqualified from this conversation. Purpose driven work does not mean waking up every single morning in a state of passionate ecstasy about your job. That is not purpose. That is a motivational poster. And real life is not a motivational poster. Purpose driven work means that even on hard days, the boring meetings, the frustrating clients, the days nothing goes right, so many copies to check, there is an underlying answer to the question, why am I doing this? An answer that goes beyond because I need the money. Think about Dr. Meghna, pediatrician in Nagpur. She will tell you herself that not every day is beautiful. There are nights on call when she's exhausted beyond language. There are heartbreaking cases. There's paperwork that makes no sense. But when a child leaves a clinic healthier than they arrived, when a mother's face unclenches with relief, she knows precisely why she walks through that door. And that knowing makes the hard days survivable. More than survival, actually meaningful. So, purpose is not the absence of difficulty, it's the presence of meaning even within the difficulty. And now, here's where I want to speak someone who might be thinking, oh, this sounds like it's only for doctors, teachers, social workers, people doing obviously noble work. I am in accounts, I am in logistics, I manage a household. What is my purpose? So let me introduce you to Sundar. He is 39, a supply chain manager at a pharma company in Hyderabad. His job on the surface is ensuring medicines reach hospital on time. Not glamorous. Full of spreadsheets, constant vendor calls, the kind of work nobody writes films about. But Sundar keeps a sticky note on his monitor. It says, somewhere today, A patient received their medication on time because I did my job well. That sticky note changed everything for him. Not his salary, not his title, not his job description, just his perspective on what his work was actually for. And for the homemakers in the room, let me say this clearly and without any softening. Raising emotionally healthy, curious, kind children is the most purposeful contribution a human being can make to society. Managing a home with warmth and intention is not small work. It's a foundation on which everything else rests. The question isn't whether your work has purpose. The question is whether you have named it yet. Every role, in every field, touches a human life somewhere in the chain. Find where yours touches and hold on to that. So we talk about, burnout constantly these days. And rightly so. It's real, it's widespread, and it's quietly devastating. But I want to offer a perspective that doesn't get discussed enough. Burnout is not always caused by doing too much. Often, it is caused by doing too much of the wrong thing. Work that has no resonance with who you are or what you care about. Work done purely on autopilot with no sense of why it matters. Think about Rashmi. She's 34, a content writer in Delhi. She was excellent at her job, productive, well paid, and completely hollowed out. Every article felt like lifting something heavy. Then she started freelancing for a mental health NGO. Pro bono, just a few hours a month, writing about anxiety, therapy, breaking stigma, things she personally cared about. Same skill, different purpose. And she told me even her paid work felt lighter afterwards because she had reconnected with why words mattered to her. So when your work and your values are pointed in roughly the same direction, you don't just work harder, you work with less friction, less dread, and more of yourself. So if you take nothing else from today, I want to carry these two questions with you. Simple questions, but genuinely powerful ones. When you answer them honestly, yes. Question one: who does my work help? Not abstractly, specifically. A person, a community, a child, a customer, a family member. It can be anyone. Give it a face. Because when you can see exactly who your work serves, it stops being a task and starts being a responsibility. A good kind of responsibility, the kind that pulls rather than pushes. And question two: why does it matter? What would be missing or worse in the world if you stop doing what you do? Sit with that. The answer doesn't have to be grand or global, it just has to be true. These two questions, asked regularly, answered honestly, are a compass. When the work gets difficult, when the motivation dips, when the Monday feelings get heavy, the compass points you back to your why. There's a story I told you about three bricklayers. A traveler passes by a construction site and asks three men doing identical work the same question: what are you doing? To the bricklayers, the three bricklayers. The first one says, I'm laying bricks. The second says, I'm building a wall. The third looks up and says with pride, I'm building a cathedral. The work was identical. The pay was identical, but the experience of that work, the energy it gave or took, the pride it created, the resilience it built was worlds apart. So we are all laying bricks in some form. The question is, do you know what cathedral you are building? So, purpose driven work is not the privilege of the lucky few who stumble into their dream career. It's a choice, a conscious, daily, renewable choice to connect what you do to something larger than the task in front of you. So, know your capital, build it with everything you have. And on the days the bricks feel heavy, remember what the walls are going to hold. So, your exercise is this. And it's deceptively simple. Deceptively because many people find this harder than they expect and more moving than they anticipate. Just hear me out. You have to fill in the blank. My work creates value by fill in the blank. Let me repeat it. You can write it down. My work creates value by, and then the blank. Complete the sentence. No jargon, no performance, just truth. Maybe it says, my work creates value by helping first generation students access quality education. Or maybe it says, my work creates value by making sure my family has a home that feels safe and loved. Or maybe it says, my work creates value by making complex information simple for the people who need it. Or maybe, and this is perfectly valid, it says, my work creates value by paying for my children's dreams. That is purpose too. That is cathedral building too. And now reflect on how it feels to read that sentence back to yourself. Does it feel true? Does it feel small? Does it make you want to do the work differently? Does it surprise you? Whatever you feel, that feeling is information. It's telling you something important about where you are and where you might want to go. Listen to it. Keep that sentence somewhere visible this week on your phone lock screen, on a sticky note, in your wallet. Read it on the hard days. Revise it as you grow. Let it evolve because you will. So you're building something. Make sure you know what it is. So with that thought, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you.